So the work is internal as well as external. So therefore, number one is, first step is you got to live your calling. You got to decide what is it you love. Second thing is you've got to work on yourself. Write this down under work on yourself. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. You have a ministry and you have 300 people, that's a reflection of you. You have 2,000, that's a reflection of you. You have a job, you're generating $1,200 a year, or $2,000, or $500,000, whatever you earn, whatever you're producing in your life is a reflection of you. That's why it says, judge a tree by the fruit it bears. I can look at what you're producing and I can tell you a lot about who you are. And if you look at people who are living below their potential and sinning, and sin in the Aramaic language means falling short of the mark. I asked a question earlier, how many of you have goals? You raise your hands. How many of you know if you had your life to live over again, you can do more than what you've done? The majority of us raise our hands. Then that was an indication, that was testimony to reflect the fact that you operating below your potential. That's a sin. Herein my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. Didn't just say fruit, much fruit. See, when you leave here, you've got to make a commitment to be more fruitful, to be more productive, to make greater impact. So what will allow you to do that? You got to spend time working on yourself. In order to write this down, in order to do something you've never done, you've got to be someone you've never been. In order to do something you've never done, you've got to be someone you've never been. That's why Scripture says you must be born again. You've got to die as you are now. You've got to be willing to give up who you are now for what you can become. Certain things will no longer fit into your life. There's no place for it. In order to do something you've never done, you've got to be someone you've never been. So you've got to spend serious time reading, writing your goals down, reading Scripture, anchoring yourself spiritually to handle the storms of life, because they're going to come. You've got to read things that will help to develop your mind, your consciousness, your attitude.
Everybody's got these stupid barriers they put in their own head. You got to resist those goddamn things, because they don't do you any good, and they certainly define the potential for your future in a negative way that's not self-serving, and it's not even real. This idea that there's no way to get past the starting block today is just ludicrous. It's crazy. And it's just this poor thinking. And people that are trapped in bad situations, one of the problems is you feel like this is your future. You feel like you're fucked and you can't get out of that. There's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no rainbow. And if you feel like that, that alone can be incredibly defining and limiting. But if you look at yourself objectively and say, okay, I kind of am fucked here. I'm in credit card debt. I'm working in a shitty job. I don't like what I'm doing, but I have some ideas. I need to feed those fucking ideas. I need to feed them and water them, and I need to set aside a certain amount of time every day to just try to make those things happen. You can do that. I think here's an important thing too. I think failure teaches you things that you don't learn from success. I think failure gives you an opportunity for self-examination. It also gives you a feeling that is very uncomfortable. And that very uncomfortable feeling helps you grow. And don't look at these failures as like proof that you suck. Look at them as opportunities for growth. Look at them as opportunities to be motivated to do better. If you look at someone who's doing really well, like say if you focus on like Kevin Hart or someone like that, some very famous and successful comedian, all you see is him now flying around private jets, wearing a new pair of sneakers every day, driving around in Bentleys. You just see that. You don't see him being a young kid in Philadelphia going to open mic nights. There's a progression that you're not witness to. You don't see it. And that takes place in everything. It takes place in authors. It takes place in comedians and musicians. There is a starting point, and then with time and focus, and as long as you reevaluate and reassess and constantly objectively look at what you're doing and then pursue it with passion and focus, you get better at things. There's always going to be people that are luckier than you. Some of it is luck, and some of it is courage. Some of it is putting your ass out there. Some of it is trying things. One of the things that I always like to tell people that I think you should do is do shit that's difficult. It's very important to struggle. We have been fed this line of horseshit that you're supposed to seek comfort, and I don't think you are. I think you're supposed to seek lessons, and you're supposed to seek difficult tasks and accomplishments, and through those things and through doing things that are hard to do, even if it's just a fucking 90-minute hot yoga class, this life doesn't have enough of that. There's not enough struggle. You don't get to know yourself without struggle. You don't get to know your boundaries unless you push them. You don't get to know who you are really unless you're tested.